Hello children. Last time we have studied the exchange of gases at the alveoli and at the tissue level. So the gases, when it enters into the blood, how it will get transported to the different parts, and from the different parts how it will bring the carbon dioxide. So that we will read in this class. Now already I told you that the gases will get transported by the blood. That is, blood is the media for the transportation of carbon dioxide and oxygen. And you have studied the components of the blood in the last chapter, that is the plasma and the blood cells. And plasma, it will help in the transportation of the blood. Plasma, it will help in the transportation of the gases, and in the blood cells, from the blood cells, so mainly it is the RBCs which will help in the transportation of gases. So when you take the transportation of oxygen, when you consider the transportation of oxygen, this transportation of the oxygen solubility in the water is very less. So only 3% of oxygen is transported in the dissolved state through the plasma, and 97% of oxygen is transported through the RBCs in the form of oxyhemoglobin. Fine, we will see now. So this is about the transportation of oxygen. How it will get transported through the plasma 3% and through the RBC it is 97%. And now how the carbon dioxide will get transported. See, carbon dioxide solubility is more in the water. So 7% of carbon dioxide will get transported through the plasma, and 20 to 25% of carbon dioxide is transported through the RBCs in the form of carbaminohemoglobin. Fine, it will get transported in the form of carbaminohemoglobin by binding the amine part of the RBC, and 70% of the carbon dioxide is transported as bicarbonate through the RBC. Fine. So these values, if you remember, it is well and good. Fine. Now let us go one by one. How the transportation of oxygen and how the transportation of carbon dioxide will occur in the body, that we will discuss now. Fine. Now first let us go to the transportation of oxygen. First we will go through the transportation of oxygen. Now you know, oxygen, it will get transported from the alveoli into the blood and from the blood to the different parts, that you know. So only 3% will get dissolved in the plasma and will get carried to the different parts of the body. Now 97% of the oxygen will combine with the hemoglobin and in the form of oxyhemoglobin. It is carried to the different parts of the body. This you have to remember, in the form of oxyhemoglobin. So you know the structure of hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is having heme and the globin, that you know, in the name itself it is there. Heme, it is the iron part of the RBC, and globin, it is a protein part. And here the Fe molecules are 4 in the RBC, and each one will carry 1 oxygen. Thus 1 RBC will carry 4 oxygen. So thus it will form the oxyhemoglobin. Fine. So 4 Fe molecules will carry 4 oxygen molecule. That is 1 RBC will carry 4 oxygen in the form of oxyhemoglobin. So usually how do you write? Hemoglobin will carry oxygen and it will form oxyhemoglobin. How many oxygen it will carry? 4 oxygen molecule it will carry. This is given in NCERT, so please remember this one. Fine. So how many oxygen 1 RBC will carry? 4 oxygen molecules. So how the oxygen is transported? In the form of oxyhemoglobin. Fine. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಎರಡು ರೂಪದಾಗ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಮಾನಾಗ ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್, 3%. 97% ಏನದ ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. 97% ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿ. ಅದು ಹೆಂಗೆ, ಹೀಮ್ ಐರನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಜೋಡಿ ಕಂಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹಿಮೋಗ್ಲೋಬಿನ್ನಾಗ 4 ಐರನ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿನಾಗ. ಒಂದು ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿನಾಗ ಹಿಮೋಗ್ಲೋಬಿನ್ ಚೈನ್ 4 ಇರ್ತಾವಂತ ಓದಿರಿ ನೀವು. ರಫ್ಲಿ ಸಪೋಸ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ 1 ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿ is having 4 hemoglobin chain, 2 alpha, 2 beta, and all these 4 will be having 1 Fe. So all these 1 Fe will carry 1 oxygen molecule. So thus it will carry 4 oxygen molecule. So oxyhemoglobin. Fine. So let me rub this one and this diagram. There is no need for us to bother about this diagram. Fine. So what you have to remember, that you keep in your mind. Okay. Hope it is clear. Now let me go to the next slide. So in the next slide you can see the diagrammatic presentation. So here you know that the capillaries will bring the from the alveoli blood diffuses into the blood capillary. Fine. And you know the 3% of oxygen will get dissolved in the plasma, so which we wrote here. So 3% of oxygen will get dissolved in the plasma, and 97% of oxygen will combine with the hemoglobin, and it is carried through the blood in the form of oxyhemoglobin. It will be transporting. Fine. While transportation, wherever it will come in contact with the body tissues, and you know in the body cells oxygen concentration is less. So in the body cells oxygen concentration is less. Fine. Oxygen concentration is less. So oxygen which the hemoglobin is carrying, that oxygen also will get diffused into the blood cells, and oxygen from the plasma also will get diffused in the blood. So that is how the oxygen is carried to the different parts of the body. Hope it is clear, and it will be asked for 3 marks in the annual exam. What do you write? Oxygen in dissolved state only 3% will get carried. Fine. In the dissolved state only 3% will get carried, and in the dissolved, in the combined form as oxyhemoglobin, how much percentage will get carried? 97% will get carried. At the alveolar level oxyhemoglobin is formed. At the tissue level oxyhemoglobin will get dissociated into oxygen and hemoglobin, and this oxygen will get diffused into the blood cells, and also from the plasma. From the plasma also oxygen will get diffused into the blood cells. Hemoglobin is again free to carry either carbon dioxide or oxygen, but it will become free. So this much you have to remember. Now let me go to the next slide. So in the next slide this explanation only is there. So what explanation is there? Binding of oxygen. Say binding of oxygen. Well, here. So binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is primarily related to the partial pressure of oxygen. Thus in the previous class we have seen the partial pressure of oxygen will affect the binding. Fine. And the major is the partial pressure of oxygen. Fine. Apart from this, other factors which are affecting the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion concentration, and also temperature. So these 3 factors also will affect the binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. Fine. So what are, just one mark question, what are the factors which will affect the binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin? It is, the first important factor is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Apart from this, what all things? Partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion concentration and temperature. These all factors will affect the binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. You have to remember this. See, when you draw a graph against the partial pressure of oxygen and the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen, you will get a curve which is called oxygen dissociation curve, or it is also called sigmoid curve. So that we will see in the next slide. Just you have to know what written part is there here. See, oxygen sigmoid curve, or sigmoid curve, it is obtained when percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is plotted against the partial pressure of oxygen. Just now I told you. So this curve is called oxygen dissociation curve and is highly useful. It is highly useful in studying the effect of factors which will affect the binding of oxygen. That is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion concentration and temperature. Fine, on the binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. The percentage of hemoglobin that is bound with oxygen is called percentage saturation of hemoglobin. Fine. What do you mean by percentage saturation of hemoglobin? It is the amount of oxygen, or I can say percentage of hemoglobin that is bound with the oxygen. Fine. This is the oxygen dissociation curve which is given in the NCERT. Now let us see the diagram which is given in the NCERT. So here the graph, it is represented graphically. The graph is drawn along the x-axis. Partial pressure of oxygen is taken. So along the x-axis, partial pressure of oxygen is taken, and you know partial pressure of oxygen is always measured in mm of mercury. And along the y-axis, percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is taken. See how much oxygen is bounded to the hemoglobin, that is taken. So when you draw the graph, you will get a sigmoid graph, S-shaped graph you'll see. And it is a normal graph. In a normal person, how we will get a graph that is represented in NCERT. It is also called as sigmoid curve. Here what do you see? At different partial pressure, how much of hemoglobin will get saturated with the oxygen, you will see. See the maximum partial pressure, what you see is the 95 I think, 104 you will see in the alveoli, but in the oxygenated blood when you take, it is the 95 mm of mercury. Fine. And at that level in the oxygenated blood, you'll see maximum amount of oxygen, that is 100% of hemoglobin will get saturated with the oxygen. That means all the heme part of the hemoglobin will get bonded with the oxygen. That is, hemoglobin is satisfied, it's completely bonded with the oxygen. Fine. And when the partial pressure of oxygen will become less and less, you will see the percentage of saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen also will be getting reduced. See, if you take 40, how much is there? It is 65. Fine. Like this. At 40 it is 73, you can say, approximately 75. At 40 mm of mercury, 75% of hemoglobin will get saturated, and at 20 mm of mercury, you will see 25% of hemoglobin will get saturated. So that is how you will be coming to know the saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen at different partial pressures. So here a normal sigmoid graph is given. Fine. Now what will happen under different condition? Let us see here in the next graph. Well, so here the middle one is the normal one. So this middle graph which we have got in the sigmoid form, it is the normal curve which we get during normal situation. Fine. So when at the tissue level, when more amount of oxygen is needed, where the concept that is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is more, because of the metabolic activities, more amount of carbon dioxide is released at the tissue level, and hydrogen ion concentration is also there because of metabolic activities only, you can say. This you'll read a little later. Fine. So hydrogen concentration will increase because the hemoglobinic acid will be releasing more and more hydrogen ion just to bind with the oxygen. Fine. And when the metabolic activities will be taking place, automatically temperature also releases, and because of the high concentration of the diphosphoglycerate, which is a metabolic product formed during the glycolysis process. When the concentration of all these four will be increased in the body, the oxygen dissociation curve will move to the right side. So this you have to take as if our body we are considering. Don't consider here opposite, and we are reading the graph, not the human body. So see, whenever there is a need of oxygen at the tissue level, the oxygen dissociation curve will shift to the right side. Here the hemoglobin is not having much affinity towards the oxygen. The oxygen is released here. The oxygen is released. Fine. So that is called right shift, and this is due to the Bohr effect. What is Bohr effect? When the acidity of the media will increase, the oxygen will get dissociated from the hemoglobin. More and more oxygen will get dissociated from the hemoglobin. Fine. So this is due to the Bohr effect. Hope I am clear, children. And the oxygen dissociation curve will move to the left side of the normal curve. When it will happen? Opposite, you have to say. So here the affinity to the oxygen is more. Affinity to the oxygen is more. So this will occur when the body is at rest, when there is no much physical exercise. Fine. When the oxygen which is bounded to the hemoglobin is not ready to leave the hemoglobin. So this will occur when the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is less, hydrogen ion concentration is less, and the temperature is less, and also the diphosphoglycerate also will be less. All these situations, where do you see? At the alveolar level you will see. At the alveolar level. Fine. So during that time the oxygen is not released from the hemoglobin. So here the affinity to the oxygen will be more. So this is due to the Haldane effect. It is due to the Haldane effect. You have studied in the chemistry. So what will happen here in the Haldane? The acidity will be less. Fine. The binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin will be more. So affinity of oxygen is more. Here it is shown. Fine. And here affinity of the oxygen will be less. So here it is shown. So when the oxygen affinity will be less, when the normal curve shift to the right side, where it will shift usually in the body tissues. So what are how the other factors will be? That is given here. All the four, this factor is we did not discuss. So let us leave this one. Glycolysis we did not discuss. So all these three factors, that is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion concentration, and temperature will be more. Then more and more oxygen will get dissociated from the hemoglobin, which is due to the Bohr's effect. What is the left shift will say? The left shift will occur when the concentration of hydrogen ions will be less, the partial pressure will be less, and the temperature also will be less. So this we did not consider, so you can leave this one. So during that time, the oxygen will get more and more binded to the hemoglobin. Hope this is clear. So P50, so here you can see at a different partial pressure how much oxygen, how much hemoglobin will get saturated with the oxygen is shown here. So what is this P50 value? So this P50 value, let me see in the next slide, it is a little bit clear. So there also we'll discuss, just I will say one sentence. P50 means the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen will be 50% at what partial pressure of oxygen? It differs under different condition. Fine, that is given here. So this is not given in NCERT, but then also for our knowledge sake, just I have inserted this slide. Now let us know the conditions. Whatever conditions I have told now, they are there in the next coming slides. So shift to the right. So just in the writing form, it is there. So decreased affinity of hemoglobin for the oxygen. Fine. Decreased affinity of hemoglobin for the oxygen. Fine. And increased delivery of oxygen to the tissue. I told usually the curve will shift to the right in the tissues because of increased concentration of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion and temperature. So these three factors will play a very important role. So binding, very important role in binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. Fine. On the other hand, you can say opposite, binding or leaving. Then you can consider carbon dioxide also. So here let us write this one. Fine. Example, when usually this will occur when the person will be doing more physical exercise, when the body temperature increases, when the tissue will be suffering with a less amount of oxygen, which is called hypoxia. Hope it is clear. Now let me go to the next slide where we have shown when it will occur to the left shift. Fine. So all the conditions will be opposite. So wait children, I'm just okay. Shift to the left. So here when the curve will shift to the left, the normal curve, so it will shift to the left when the increased affinity of the hemoglobin for the oxygen. That is when more and more oxygen will bind to the hemoglobin. Under what conditions it will occur? Under decreased partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Everything will get decreased here. All the factors what we have studied, that is the temperature, fine, temperature, partial pressure of carbon dioxide and also the hydrogen ion concentration. All these will be decreasing. Fine. So this will occur when the body will be at rest, like the decreased physical activity, low body temperature. Fine. So that is about the shift to the left. Hope it is clear. Now let us go to the next slide. What is there? Just we will know. So these conditions, where do you see in the transportation of the oxygen? So these conditions you have to see. See in the alveoli where there is a high partial pressure of oxygen because just you are taking air from the atmosphere. Fine, you are taking air from the atmosphere, so automatically the partial pressure of oxygen will be high and the partial pressure of inhaled air, partial pressure of carbon dioxide of inhaled air will be less because here it will be 40 mm of mercury. Fine, 40 mm of mercury and hydrogen ion concentration also will be less and also the temperature also will be less because at the alveoli much metabolic activities won't be there. So all these factors will favor in the formation of oxyhemoglobin. That is, more and more oxygen will get bounded to the hemoglobin. Fine. So whereas in the tissues the conditions are opposite. That is, the partial pressure of oxygen is less, and carbon dioxide partial pressure will be more, and high amount of hydrogen ion concentration will be there, and more temperature is there because of the metabolic activity. So all these conditions, for what do they favor? They will favor the dissociation of the oxygen from the hemoglobin. Fine. This already you know. Then also the repetition will make the man perfect. Fine. At the alveoli, binding of the oxygen with the hemoglobin is favored, and at the tissue level, the dissociation of the oxygen from the hemoglobin is favored because of the factors like partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion concentration, and temperature. Where it will be less, where it will be more. So that you have to remember. Where it will be more, there all these factors, where it will be more, there the dissociation of oxygen is favored. Where it is less, association, or you can write the formation of the oxyhemoglobin will be more. Fine. Now, so this clearly indicate that the oxygen gets bound to hemoglobin in lung surface and gets dissociated at the tissue. It is very clear. Now 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver 5 ml of oxygen. So this you have to remember. 100 ml of oxygen will favor the delivery of 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues under normal physiological conditions. The 100 ml of blood, it contain 100 ml of blood, it contain mainly 15 mg of hemoglobin, 15 milligram of hemoglobin. Fine. So this you have to remember. Okay. Now let me go to the next one. So what you have learned, children? The factors which will just favor the dissociation and association of the hemoglobin with the oxygen. So this you have learned. Let me go to the next slide. So writing part is there. You have to know that one. So usually during exercise, our body need more amount of oxygen. Find more amount of oxygen and more amount of carbon dioxide which is formed in the body want to eliminate it out from the lungs, from the body through the lungs. So that only is given in this slide. So during exercise, muscles need more oxygen, of course, for the oxidation of the glucose to get more energy, and want to remove carbon dioxide. So want to remove the carbon dioxide and it want to take more amount of oxygen, need more oxygen and want to remove more carbon dioxide when during exercise. Fine. Which is produced in large amount because of the pressure gradient. Because of the pressure gradient, carbon dioxide moves from the tissues into the fluid to the capillary blood. So it is due to the Bohr's effect, which already you have learned. So oxygen releases is fastened from the hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin, that is oxyhemoglobin curve shift to the right side. Fine. So more and more oxygen will get dissociated from the hemoglobin. So oxyhemoglobin curve will get shifted to the right. And in the alveoli, so in the alveoli where there is a high partial pressure of oxygen and low partial pressure of carbon dioxide, less hydrogen ion concentration and lower temperature. All these factors are favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Fine. So all these factors will favor in the formation of oxyhemoglobin. So whereas in the tissues where low, and it is a repetition and just according to the concentration gradient. Fine. Low partial pressure of oxygen and high partial pressure of carbon dioxide and high hydrogen ion concentration and higher temperature exist at the tissue level because of metabolic activities, I told you. The conditions are favorable for the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin. In the first sentence only I told, where it is dissociation of dissociation of oxygen from the oxyhemoglobin at the tissue level. So this clearly indicates that oxygen gets bounded to the hemoglobin in the lungs and get dissociated at the tissue. So these two sentences you have to remember. Oxygen will get associated with the hemoglobin at the alveoli and get dissociated with the hemoglobin at the tissue level. So every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues under normal physiological condition. So here just P50 value is given. P50 value is the value of percentage saturation of oxygen at which hemoglobin is 50% saturated with the oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Fine, P50 value. So here it is clear in this diagram. So here we have got, I have taken the percentage saturation. See here you can see the one hemoglobin we have taken here. 100% it will get saturated at the partial pressure of 97 approximately, you can say. Here it is given 100, let it be. All heme of the hemoglobin are bounded with the oxygen. Fine. At the 40 degree of partial pressure, 75% of the hemoglobin will get bounded with the oxygen. See, normally when there is no much physical exercise, our RBC will give out only one oxygen to the tissues. So it will keep in reserve. Fine. So 50% of the hemoglobin will get saturated with the oxygen under 25%. 25 you can say 25 partial pressure of oxygen. So that just to show you, I took this graph. Fine. Now P50 value you can see more clearly here. So at the different level it will be different. So P50 value, what is P50 value? P50 value ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Hemoglobin 50% ಸ್ಯಾಚುರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಇಂದ. ಅದು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ನಾಗ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈ ಗ್ರಾಫಿಂದ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ percentage saturation, that is P50 value. See how the hemoglobin must get saturated 50% with the oxygen. Under what all partial pressure it will get saturated, that is given here. See, under approximately during the normal situations, 28 approximately here in this diagram it is showing 28 and 25 to 28 we can say. Under 25 to 28 partial pressure of oxygen, the hemoglobin will get saturated with the 50% of oxygen. Fine. So it is different for the different value. So this is the right shift and this is the left shift. This already we have discussed. Now let us go to the transportation of carbon dioxide. See, carbon dioxide transportation will occur through the plasma as well as RBC. Fine. So I told you what all percentage of carbon dioxide will get transported. See, 7%. First, carbon dioxide, where it is produced in the body cells, when it is produced during the metabolic activity, that you have to remember. And our body can't keep carbon dioxide for longer time in the blood itself because it may lead to the poisoning of the body. Fine. So carbon dioxide, it is transported in 3 ways. That is 7% of carbon dioxide will get transported in the dissolved state as carbonic acid. And 23% will combine with the amine part of the hemoglobin. Fine. Amine part of the hemoglobin. Globin is a protein part and proteins are made up of amino acids. And amino acids contain amine group. This you have studied in biomolecules. So 23% of, in some book it is given 25, that also will do. 23% of hemoglobin, it will get transported as carb amino hemoglobin. So carb amino hemoglobin, fine. And rest 70% will get transported as the bicarbonate ions, in the form of bicarbonate ions. So this will occur in the RBC, that we will read in detail. Fine. Now, say RBC contain very high concentration of enzyme which is called carbonic anhydrase. Fine. So it will, so this formula I did not took. Well, so 7% in the dissolved state, no need to bother, it will get dissolved in the plasma. So carbon dioxide will get dissolved in the plasma of the blood. Fine. And it will form carbonic acid which is unstable. This carbonic acid is unstable. So immediately it will get broken down, not immediately, depending upon the situations, it will get broken down into carbonic acid and hydrogen ion, where it will occur in the plasma. Fine. Here this rate is not fast because it doesn't contain much of the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. This also, in during reading the enzymes you have read this one. Fine. And another 23% will bind with the hemoglobin. So it will bind with the hemoglobin. So you can write HB plus CO2. What does it form? It will form carb amino hemoglobin. It will form carb, let me write it properly. So here the writing is not proper. That one anyway you have seen. So this one, let me write once again, children. So here what will happen? The hemoglobin. So let us write the simple formula. See, hemoglobin, that is amine group of the hemoglobin, will get bounded to the carbon dioxide to form the, so these are all the transitional molecule, they are temporary molecules. It will form the carb amino hemoglobin. This formula you remember. No need for us to show the amine group. Fine. So this is the second. It applies for the second. Third one is given here. What will happen? This in the coming slide you will see the rest of the carbon dioxide. The rest of the carbon dioxide, it enters into the RBC. It enters into the RBC. Fine. And in the RBC, this reaction will take place. In the RBC, this reaction will take place. So this we will read in coming slides. So in the RBC, the carbon dioxide combines with the water and it will form the carbonic acid. Fine. And this reaction is enhanced, or I can say affected, by an enzyme which is present in the plasma of the RBC. What is that enzyme? Carbonic anhydrase. This compulsory you have to remember. Fine. So this will fasten the reaction. That is why 70% of the carbon dioxide is carried by the water content of the RBC in the form of bicarbonate. So this carbonic acid, it will immediately get broken down into bicarbonate ions and the hydrogen. So this is a transitional molecule, you can say. And so in this condition, it will get transported to the lungs. It will get transported from the different parts of the body to the lungs. Hope I am clear. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂರು ವಿಧದೊಳಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಒಂದು 7% ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಮಾನಾಗ ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗ್ತದ. ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಮಾನಾಗ ನೀರಿನ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀರಿನ ಜೋಡಿ ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಬೋನಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಕಾರ್ಬೋನಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ ಇದು ಟೆಂಪರರಿ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್, ಇದೇನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಏನೇನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಬೈಕಾರ್ಬೊನೇಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಅಯಾನ್. ಈ ರೂಪದೊಳಗೆ ಇದು ಹೆಂಗಂತ ಮುಂದೆ ಹ್ಯಾಂಬರ್ಗರ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲ ಕೆಳಗಿಂದು. ಈ ರೂಪದೊಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದ 7%. ಇನ್ನು 23% ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದ, ಹಿಮೋಗ್ಲೋಬಿನ್ ಅಮೈನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಜೋಡಿ ಕಂಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಬಮೈನೋ ಹಿಮೋಗ್ಲೋಬಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದ. 70% RBC ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬೈಕಾರ್ಬೊನೇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದ. ಫೈನ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಆಯಿತು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್. ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್. Okay. At the tissue site where the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high. Already I told you that the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is very high at the tissue level because of the production. Fine. Due to the catabolism. The carbon dioxide diffuses into the blood and forms bicarbonate and hydrogen ions. Fine. Then at the alveolar site where partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, the reaction proceeds in opposite direction. This in the coming slide we have a diagrammatic presentation that you will understand. To the formation of carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide trapped in as bicarbonate at the tissue level and transported to the alveoli is released out as carbon dioxide. So every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers approximately 4 ml of carbon dioxide to the alveoli. Fine. So at the tissue level, what will happen? Carbon dioxide will come out and bind with the RBC. I mean, through the RBC it will get transported. In what form? It will get transported as aminohemoglobin and carbonic acid. At the alveolar level, opposite reaction will proceed. That is, the bicarbonate ion combines with the hydrogen. It will form the carbonic acid, and carbonic acid further will get dissociated into water and carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide will move out of the from the blood into the alveoli. Fine. So this in the diagrammatic form, it is there in the coming slide. You can see here. Well, here you can see, children. See here at the tissue level, carbon dioxide is more. So this carbon dioxide, it will enter into the interstitial fluid. What do you mean by interstitial fluid? The fluid which is present between the cells and the capillary blood. So this carbon dioxide, it will enter into the blood. So in the blood, it will get transported in 3 different ways. Fine. So some 7% will get dissolved in the plasma. I told 23% will get bounded with the hemoglobin. Here it is given hemoglobin to form the aminohemoglobin. Fine. And here it is given, and rest 70% will get combined with the water. Under the influence of carbonic anhydrase, it will form carbonic acid, then bicarbonate ion, hydrogen. Fine. So this is the transportation of carbon dioxide through the RBC. Fine. So what will happen? This carbonate ion, it will come out of the RBC into the interstitial fluid, then outside in the alveolar level. Here we are reading the tissue level. Oxygen concentration in the blood will bring oxygen to the tissues. So here what will happen? The oxygen which is in the form of oxyhemoglobin. So here that is not shown. Well, here it is shown the transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide at the tissue level. Fine. So here the oxyhemoglobin is there. This oxyhemoglobin will get broken down into hemoglobin and oxygen. how it will get broken down? So here the hydrogen ion which is formed after breaking down of carbonic acid will combine with the hemoglobin to form the hemoglobinic acid. It acts like a buffer. It will not allow the increase of acidity in the RBC. Fine, it will not allow the increase of acidity in the RBC. So when the hydrogen ions will combine with the hemoglobin, automatically the oxygen will get freed. So this oxygen will come out and it will enter into the body tissue. So just this knowledge you keep aside. You remember only the transportation. Just here I have tried to show you how the carbon dioxide will enter into the RBC, and from the RBC how the oxygen will get dissociated into the ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾ ಏನು ತೋರಿಸೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ನಾಗಿಂದ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿನಾಗ ಬರ್ತದ ಮತ್ತು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಆರ್ ಬಿ ಸಿನಾಗಿಂದ ಹ್ಯಾಂಗೆ ಸೆಲ್ಸಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ನಾಗ ಬರ್ತದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ನಾಗ ಬಂದಾಗ ಆ 3 ವಿಧ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತೋರಿಸಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದಾದ, ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೂ ನಡೀತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ it will combine with the water jodi combined ಆಗ್ತದ, carbonic acid form ಆಗ್ತದ. Well, carbonic acid unstable ಇರ್ತದ, it will get broken down into bicarbonate and hydrogen ions. ಈ bicarbonate negative form negative charged ion ಇರ್ತದ, ಇದು immediately it will come out. After the forming it will come out from the RBC. Fine. Actually here it will combine with the sodium or potassium ions, which is not shown here, and this no need to bother also, just to remember how it will come out. So after coming it will become neutral by combining with the sodium or potassium. Fine. So in this form it is carried, it will come out. So when a bicarbonate ion will come out from the RBC, there is an imbalance of the electrons here. So to compensate that, the chloride from the plasma will enter into the RBC to balance the ionic form. So this is called chloride shift, and this for the first time was explained by Hamburger. Fine. So this is also called as Hamburger process or phenomena. ಹೌದಾ? ಇದು ಆಯಿತು, ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊರಿ. ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಿ, ಇದೇನು ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಅಯಾನ್ ಏನು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದಿಲ್ಲ, ದಿಸ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಅಯಾನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಂಬೈನ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಹಿಮೋಗ್ಲೋಬಿನ್. ಹಿಮೋಗ್ಲೋಬಿನ್ ಜೋಡಿ ಕಂಬೈಂಡ್ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಆಗ್ತದ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ RBC. ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಲಿ it will enter into the blood cell. I mean the cells from the blood. Okay, idu Hamburger phenomena. I think it is not so clear at this level to you people because I have taken a combined diagram. So it is not given in the NCERT, so don't bother. Just for the knowledge sake I have introduced this. What you have to remember, when in the RBC, when water will combine with the carbon dioxide, carbonic acid is formed. This will get dissociated into bicarbonate and hydrogen ion. This bicarbonate, it will come out of the RBC, as the RBC membrane is permeable to the negatively charged ions. When the bicarbonate ion will come out, there creates an ionic imbalance. So immediately to compensate this, the chloride ions from the plasma will enter into the RBC. Thus the negative charge will get balanced in the RBC, nothing will go wrong. So this particular process is called chloride shift, or it is also called Hamburger phenomena. ಇಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ, ಬಾಕಿ ಏನೋ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಡ್ರಿ ತಲೆಗ. ಫೈನ್, ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಇದು ಕಾರ್ಬೊನೇಟ್, ದಿಸ್ bicarbonate ion, when it will come out in the interstitial fluid, it will combine with the sodium or potassium. Then in this form it will get transported to the lungs. Okay, in this form it will get transported to the lungs. Again there the opposite reaction will occur. and oxygen from the RBC, it will enter into the body tissue. Hope I'm more clear. Fine. So I could not explain this. How we can explain this on the board? Let me try this on the plain slide. Let me take a plain slide. If possible, I will take a plain slide and explain next. So here gaseous exchange, which already we have dealt, that I took. See, oxygen from the alveoli, oxygen loaded blood will enter into the pulmonary vein, and you know that the pulmonary vein will carry oxygenated blood and artery will carry, pulmonary artery will carry deoxygenated blood. Fine. Then it will go to the heart diagram we did not took here. Then this oxygenated blood will get transported to the different parts of the body. In different parts, oxygen will get unloaded and the blood will get loaded with the carbon dioxide. Then through the veins it will go to the heart, and from the heart it will go to the lungs. Fine. From the heart it will go to the lungs. Deoxygenated blood again will get oxygenated. It is a cycle. This diagram is given in your NCERT in this way. So here it is very clear. Alveoli. So oxygenated blood will enter into the left auricle, then into the left ventricle. Then it will get carried through the blood vessel, through the systemic circulation. It will get transported to the different parts of the body, and in the different parts of the body, in the tissues, it will get deoxygenated. The blood will get loaded with the carbon dioxide, and what all factors you have studied. So that carbon dioxide loaded blood, which is called deoxygenated blood, is carried to the right atrium, then to the right ventricle. From the right ventricle through the pulmonary artery, it will go to the lungs, and this carbon dioxide will get dissociated into the alveoli, then we will exhale it. So this is a simple diagrammatic representation which is given in the NCERT. Fine. Now let me just go to the next slide. So here Hamburger phenomena is given, or the chloride shift is given. So let us see what is given here. To maintain the electrostatic neutrality, of the plasma, many chloride ions diffuses from the plasma into the RBC and bicarbonate ion pass out. The chloride content of RBC increases when oxygenated blood becomes deoxygenated. This is termed as chloride shift or Hamburger shift. So entering of chloride ions into RBC is known as positive chloride shift. What is positive chloride shift? Entry of the chloride from the plasma into the RBC. So it will occur at the tissue level. And shifting of chloride from the RBC into the plasma. Shifting of chloride from the RBC into the plasma is known as negative chloride shift, and this will occur at the alveolar level. So what together you have to remember, suppose that it is the RBC, fine. So at the tissue level it will occur. Carbon dioxide from the plasma will enter into the RBC, and this carbon dioxide will combine with the water, fine. It will form carbonic acid, which is an unstable compound. It is an unstable compound. This reaction is catalyzed by carbonic anhydrase, fine, and this one will get broken down into bicarbonate ions and hydrogen, fine. So this carbonate ions will come out of the RBC because RBC membrane is permeable to the negatively charged ion. When the bicarbonate ions will come out, here the ionic imbalance will get created. To balance this one from the plasma, the chloride ions will enter, and this is called the chloride shift. Fine. So this bicarbonate, when it will enter into the plasma, it will combine with the sodium, or it may combine with the potassium. In the form of potassium bicarbonate and sodium bicarbonate, it will get transported through the blood to the lungs. It will go. There all the reactions will occur opposite, like chloride ions from the plasma and from the RBC, it will come out. Fine. So the sodium bicarbonate, or this this sodium bicarbonate, let me take sodium bicarbonate only because it is formed in more amount. So it will get dissociated to form carbonic acid and hydrogen ions. So H2 I wrote, it must be H plus. Let me erase that one. So here, oh shit, that I have erased. This I would have erased. Let me take the pen. Sodium ion I wrote. Fine. Well, so H plus ions. Well, it will get dissociated. Opposite reactions will occur. So this H plus here, which is formed. Okay, I should not combine. So this is I told the bicarbonate ions will get transported as the sodium bicarbonate in the form of sodium bicarbonate. So this particular, only you keep up to this in mind, and this process is called Hamburger phenomena. Enough. The shifting of chloride ion from the plasma into the RBC to balance, and in the place of bicarbonate ions is called the chloride shift. So all these reactions will occur opposite in the alveoli for the release of carbon dioxide. Okay, let me go to the next slide. In the next slide, it is diagrammatically represented. Let me go to the next slide. So here you can see in the venous blood, or you can say body cells, more amount of carbon dioxide is there, and deoxygenated blood is carried by the veins. Carbon dioxide some part of carbon dioxide is carried through the plasma. Some amount of carbon dioxide, that is 23%, will get bounded with the hemoglobin, and it is carried as carb-aminohemoglobin, and some more 70% of carbon dioxide will combine with the water of the RBC and form carbonic acid, which is unstable. It will get broken down into bicarbonate ions and hydrogen ions. This hydrogen ion will combine with the hemoglobin. Fine. To form hemoglobinic acid, it will do a buffering action. It will not allow the increase of acidity of the RBC. This bicarbonate ion will come out of the RBC. To balance this, the chloride ions will enter. So this is called the chloride shift. This last reaction you have to remember. Fine. Let me mark that with the marker. See this one. This one is the Hamburger phenomena. So simply I confused you people by using pen in between. So here I have taken a clear slide. Fine. So this will occur at the tissue level. Fine. Now what will happen at the alveolar level? So here what will happen? The chloride ions will move out, and the carb-aminohemoglobin will get broken down into carbon dioxide. The carb-aminohemoglobin will get broken down into hemoglobin and carbon dioxide. So which is 23%. Fine. carbaminohemoglobin will get broken down into hemoglobin and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is free. Like that only, the bicarbonate ions, it will combine the bicarbonate ion, it will combine with the hydrogen to form carbonic acid, and the carbonic acid will get broken down into water and carbon dioxide. All this carbon dioxide will come out. It will come out and will get transported to the alveoli. Then through the alveoli, it will get transported outside. Fine. So here the transportation of carbon dioxide is given in detail. How it will enter into the blood and how it will get relieved from the blood into the alveoli. Fine. So here it is at the tissue level. The carbon dioxide will enter into the blood in 3 ways. It will enter into the blood by 3 ways, which already I told you, through the plasma and through the RBC. Fine. And it is carried to the lungs. And at the lungs, all opposite reactions will occur. All opposite reactions will occur. And the carbon dioxide which is released will come out through the alveoli. Thus, it is exhaled during the exhalation. Hope it is clear. Don't get confused. Again and again I have repeated. Fine. So don't get confused with the things. Now you see this slide, it will become clear for you people. Fine. Okay, let me erase everything. So this slide will clearly explain you how the carbon dioxide will get transported. What you have to remember? 3 reactions you have to remember. So some amount of carbon dioxide will get transported in the dissolved state. Some will get combined with the amine group of hemoglobin. Some with the water of the RBC. Fine. These 3 reactions only you have to write while writing the answer, and it is given in the PU question bank, which already you have got. Fine, children. So next time we will be going to the disorders of respiratory system. Fine. So we have to go to the next disorders. So this one, let me say now itself. So you know that the carbon dioxide, well, see, carbon dioxide will form a temporary structure with the hemoglobin. But more than carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide is having more affinity to the hemoglobin. You know, when the carbon monoxide is formed, when incomplete combustion of fossil fuels will occur. At that time, carbon monoxide is formed. When we inhale the carbon monoxide, that carbon monoxide will bind with the hemoglobin. See, the binding site of the carbon monoxide and oxygen is same. So here I have taken that point. See, binding site of carbon monoxide and hemoglobin is same. Fine. So once the hemoglobin, once it will bind with the carbon monoxide, it will not leave. It will form a permanent complex. It is a permanent complex. Spelling went wrong. So it will form a permanent complex. Fine. So it will not leave carbon monoxide, and that much amount of hemoglobin which is bound with the carbon monoxide is not available for the binding of the oxygen. Fine. So it leads to the carbon monoxide poisoning. Likewise, only nitrogen monoxide is also having more affinity to the hemoglobin. Fine. And myoglobin is having more affinity to the oxygen. It is like myoglobin, which is present in the muscle, act as a reservoir. It acts as a reservoir. Fine. It will not leave the oxygen unless there is an emergency. Okay. And you know, during strainful exercise, our hemoglobin will leave more amount of oxygen. It will give out more amount of oxygen, and under normal condition it will not give much amount of oxygen. Hope it is clear. So what things you have learned today, children? You have learned the transportation of oxygen and transportation of carbon dioxide. So in the only what will be asked in the exam, that you have to remember. So what will be asked in the exam? Transportation of oxygen. So oxygen, it is transported in two ways. That is 3% is carried out in dissolved state to the plasma, and 97 in with the hemoglobin as oxyhemoglobin. Only this slide you have to remember for 3 marks, which will be asked in the annual exam. And here the oxygen transportation diagrammatic representation is there. Fine, just now you have seen the carbon dioxide transportation. Like that, oxygen transportation is given here. Fine, so this you have to remember. And then you have to remember the what is oxygen dissociation curve. So oxygen dissociation curve we will get in the form of sigmoid. It is drawn against the partial pressure against the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen. So this you have to remember. And then you have to remember the transportation of carbon dioxide. See, carbon dioxide will get transported in three forms: 7% through the plasma, 23 through the hemoglobin in amino hemoglobin form, and 70% as bicarbonate ions. This slide you have to remember and write for 5 marks. This reaction also you have to write below that. Fine. So hope you understood, children. So if you get any confused, because I have taken some extra things and some extra slides which are not, which I would have not included. So if that has confused, hope lastly I have cleared. So these three things only you have to keep in mind: transportation of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and dissociation curve. And you have to remember the factors which are affecting the transportation or binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. Fine. Hope you understood. If you did not understood, just we will discuss it during the apps cook. Fine.